can. But one of the first things I want to talk to you about, I talked to Lana a little bit about what we were going to talk about. And she kind of likes she likes spontaneous, to be a little spontaneity, if you will. So she knows who Tommy Tuberville is. And Tommy Tuberville has been in the news lately. If you don't know who Tommy Tuberville is by now, he is a senator from Alabama. He used to be a college football coach. He was actually a college football coach for what my beloved Miami Hurricanes at one point, won 3 national championships with them as an assistant coach and a defensive coordinator. But now he's a senator of Alabama, and he's gotten himself in a little bit of trouble with not just the Democratic Party, but the Republican Party has a few issues on some of the things that he has said lately. There's 2 things that he's been in the news for. One, he is holding up some nominations to the military because of the military's policy on abortion. After the Supreme Court overturned the nationwide right to abortion, the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin issued a policy last October that said he would ensure all troops would have reproductive health care access to it. And so he is holding up these nominations to the military because he objects to the abortion policy of the military. And it's a lot of people are saying that I just sound like Donald Trump. A lot of people are saying, and I think I did the hand motion.
All of the people, those people.
There, yeah. So that it is a national security threat. And, what he's doing is a little bit over the top. Did you see anything about this?
Yes, I did. Okay. And I have a lot to know. I'm not going to. Yeah. But no, this is awful, right? He's been, and this isn't new. Tommy Tuberville has been holding up these things for quite some time. Like, it's just now getting more traction, but these promotions have been held up for quite some time. The thing about this is that, like, he's just so pissed that the military, right, is going to reimburse women for travel to get a medical procedure.
Correct.
In the military, you do not get to decide what base you're going to be at, right? Correct. So if you're in a state that offers this medical procedure and then you find yourself being stationed in Texas or Alabama and there's shitty insurance, like, can I say shitty?
You absolutely.
Okay.
100%. On my show, you absolutely can.
I
shouldn't say on my show. On our show, I'm just saying yeah.
Right. So, like, it just on its face is so ridiculous when you don't even get to choose, and you're not. And the lie is the military is paying for abortions. No, that's not the truth. It's travel.
That's correct. And they always pass themselves off as the military party, right, and to not, they're saying Joe Biden is weakening our military. This actually is weakening the military because you are having people in positions who really shouldn't be there. They're there temporarily filling in these positions right now. Yeah. And because of this stance and this one senator who is holding this up because of his stance on abortion is endangering our military.
Right.
So now, did you hear his comments about white nationalists?
Oh, see, I did, but
okay,
I didn't hear it all. So, I know.
I've got a transcript here. I'm trying to learn how to play clips on this thing, and I'm eventually going to learn how to do it. I found one little clip. I'm going to try that later. It might be a disaster, but let me go over. He was on with Caitlin Collins on CNN, and she was asking him about white nationalism. And this is how the interview went. It might take a minute here, but this is the transcript. This is Tommy Tuberville and then Caitlin Collins going back and forth. My guess is you'll be able to figure out which one is Tommy Tuberville and which one is Caitlin Collins. So this is Tommy Tuberville. He says he's totally against anything to do with racism. But the thing about being a white nationalist is just a cover word for the Democrats now, where they can use it to try to make people mad across the country. Identity politics. I'm totally against that, but I'm for the American people. I'm for the military. We just discussed that. I'm not really sure he is. I'm for Christian conservatives, Democrats, whoever wants to be in the military to fight for this country, to protect this country. That's what it's all about. Caitlin Collins says, but just to be clear, you agree that white nationalists should not be serving in the U.S. military. Is that what you're saying? If people think that a white nationalist is racist, I agree with that. I would agree they shouldn't. But a white nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races. Well, that's some people's opinion. And I don't think, I mean a lot. Caitlin Collins interrupts. It's not my opinion. And then she asks, what is his opinion? And he says, my opinion of a white nationalist is somebody wants to call them a white nationalist, to me, is an American. It's an American. Now, if that white nationalist is a racist, I'm not totally against anything that they want to do, because I am 110%. He put it 110% against racism. But I want somebody that's in our military, that's strong, that believes in this country, that's an American, that will fight along with anybody, whether it's man, woman, black, white, red. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. And so I'm totally against identity politics. I think it's ruining this country. And I think that Democrats ought to be ashamed of how they're doing this, because it's dividing this country and it's making the country weaker every day. Caitlin Collins says, but that's not identity politics. You said a white nationalist is an American. And he says it's identity politics. You said a white nationalist is an American, but a white nationalist is someone who believes horrific things. You don't. Do you really think that someone who should be serving in the military? I'm almost done. He says, well, that's just the name that it's been given. She says, it's not. It's a real. And he says, I mean, listen. She says, it's a real definition. The real concerns about extremism. By the way, the actual definition of white nationalist is one of a group of militant white people who espouse white supremacy and advocate enforced racial segregation. So he goes on to say, so if you're going to do away with most white people in this country out of the military, we've got huge problems. Finally, she says, it's not people who are white, it's white nationalists. And he says, they have a few probably different beliefs. And she says, do you see the distinction? And he says, they have different beliefs. Now, if racism is one of those beliefs, I'm totally against it. I'm totally against racism. And then he says a few more things about the opinion. And that's where Tommy Tuberville stands on white nationalism. He doubled down on it. It wasn't just that interview. He doubled down on it 2 or 3 times when asked about it. Thoughts?
I don't even know what my thoughts are. It's what they're doing is insidious. And this isn't, what Tommy Tubbs is saying and doing is not like in a vacuum, and it's not lost on me, because there's a bigger picture here. And it's not a coincidence that, the House insurrectionists passed their defense bill and slid in there, not paying for the travel, getting rid of the diversity programs in the military, getting rid of the trans in the military. Like, of course, that was slid in there because ultimately the thing about Republicans is they tell us what they want and what they're going to do.
Yes.
And Democrats at some point, and we're getting wiser, we have to believe them, because they waited a long time to get Roe v. Wade to be gone. Like, they were very patient.
That is absolutely correct. I mean, 50 years patient.
They were very patient. So they don't want women in the military. He is absolutely right. They want a military of white nationalists. Like, no brainer.
Yeah.
Like, no women, no trans, no blacks.
Goodbye. Yeah. And he also used the old, well, I was a football coach, so nobody can be, I'm the least racist person. Almost did the Donald Trump thing. He's the least racist person because he hung out with young black men as a football coach.
Because he's the least racist because he made money off of the backs of black young men.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I mean, there is, and I live in the South in Florida. By the way, you live up in Massachusetts. Everybody should know that. You're more up north. I'm down south here. And I'm a huge college football fan. I've been a college football fan my whole life. And there is still a bit of the good old boy network when it comes to college football and a lot of things in the South. And I'm not saying it's the old racist South that you saw in the 30s, 40s, and even beyond, before that. But there is still that sense that there is a superiority complex in a way with some people. Absolutely. And, Tommy Tuberville is obviously filling that mold. It appears as if he's basically telling us that's who he is without really coming out and saying
and it's not even appearing. Like Tommy is not a fool. Tommy's from Alabama, right? This isn't like kind of sort of in the deep South. He's in the deep South.
Yeah.
Like they're still Robert E. Lee celebrating that stuff. Like there's no question. He knows who David Duke is. He's going to play that Donald Trump. I don't know who that guy is. That Tommy knows. Tommy knows about cross burnings. Like he knows what he's talking about.
There's no question. As I said, it's another sort of dog whistle thing from the right that we actually see a lot. And, it's funny because, I'm going to read you something else here. Do you know who Charlie Kirk is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess he's not an incel, but he reminds me of an incel.
I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't. He's one of these podcasters, and I was going to say,